Well, this is a historic Thursday Section 1904 podcast. Welcome to the section, everybody. I'm Darren Smith. He's John Gennaro. Why is this so exciting? Because never before have either John or myself used the microphones that we're going to use for today's podcast. Now, we're using different microphones for totally different reasons, which we will explain. Today, we mean it when we say this is going to be a shorter podcast.
We do.
We do mean that, and I can go into a little bit of detail. Because I am in Florida. This was not a scheduled trip. I am sitting at a small round table in a hotel on Hutchinson Island. I don't know if you're familiar with Hutchinson Island. It's in, well, it might be its own city, but it's just outside of Stewart. It's over a couple of bridges. So had to get here last night, took a red-eye flight, arrived in Fort Lauderdale, through Charlotte, which is a very nice airport. Made my way here, got a chance to see my dad for a little while, who's back in the hospital, unfortunately. And now I'm taking a little bit of a break so he can rest. And I said, why not do a podcast? So I did pack up a microphone. I did pack up a laptop since I want to stay true to Section 1904 and also do a little bit of prep for SDFC and the Chicago Fire on Saturday, and I just couldn't go a day without seeing John. But John also has a microphone.
I do.
That he's never used before here on Section 1904. So this is exciting, and we should say thank you to the people who subscribe and support this podcast, because if not for you guys, we'd be listening to the same old hunk of tin that he's been using here for the last how many years.
The funny thing is, I've wanted this microphone for years. When I was at Yahoo Sports, all of my hosts used this exact microphone, and I was always like, man, I got to get one of those. Man, I got to get one of those. Never did, but now that we have subscribers and we want to make the best possible show for them, they gave us their money in terms of subscribing, and we used some of that money to upgrade my microphone setup and yours, which is sitting in the box right next to me, which will be delivered to you whenever you are back in town.
All right. Well, how does this one sound? This is my temporary one that I often take out to SDFC training so that I can do some interviews, a little bit of handheld interviews. Is there any noticeable quality difference between this and the normal piece of crap tin that I use when I'm sitting at my desk at home?
Surprisingly, yes. I've noticed this in the past listening to your SDFC interviews. I'm like, that is a nice sound from that microphone, because I know it wasn't a particularly expensive microphone. I'm always surprised the sound quality is quite good.
Yeah, this came straight from Best Buy. Now, I am operating on hotel Wi-Fi, so I just heard that your quality sounded a little bit awkward, but it's probably my Wi-Fi. So, yet again, it's another reason why this is going to be a little bit shorter. So we'll do a little bit of Padres here. As mentioned, I traveled. This was not a planned trip. So those that have listened to the radio show for years know, listen, my dad's a fighter, and he's got another fight on his hands, and had a chance to see him a little bit earlier, and he looks tired. He just looks very tired. So hopefully, just being here for a couple of days will get him going back in the right direction. I will respect his privacy in terms of what it is that's happening, other than to tell you, amongst myriad other things, this poor guy got COVID. And to go and see him, you have to go full hazmat suit. So you can imagine that scene. Not enjoyable. Not enjoyable,
was that not
John.
a joke? You said last night that you had to wear full hazmat suit to see him. Is that not a joke? Are you in a full hazmat suit?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he's because of him and just how precarious the situation is. I guess they want to take all precautions. I don't know if that's about him. I don't know if that's really about us catching COVID from him, or if that's about him catching something from us, because he's in a particularly weakened state. But either way, he's in a room that it's like all those scenes that you would see when we were at the height of COVID. He's in one of those kind of rooms, and to get into the room, I guess I didn't ask if I had to do it. I just decided to put the stuff on, and the mask and the gloves and the gown and all that. So
got it.
Anyhow. He had a couple of good moments today. So, and his vitals are much better than they were yesterday. So that's a good sign. Like I said, this guy's a fighter, been a fighter his whole life. So, we will certainly, at some point, obviously it's just going to be a little bit too much, but hopefully that's not the case here. So, we'll spend a couple of days in Florida, your favorite part of the world, John. I will be on the lookout for some food with a little bit of flavor and a little bit of spice. Surprisingly, the weather's actually kind of decent. It's like 88, 90. So might go for a swim here since I have a little bit of time.
I did Google I did Google Hutchinson Island, and the water there looks crystal clear, or light blue and gorgeous with soft white sand. So looks
What's
like
the temp?
I didn't look at the temp, but I saw some pictures show up on Google Images, and I was like, wow, that's a nice looking place. Let's see, the temp in Hutchinson Island is 88 degrees, but the water temperature is it's like 83.
Wow.
83.
You imagine if the water temp in San Diego. I have a theory. I don't know if it's true because I'm not a surfer. That California surfers are the best surfers in the world because those surfers swim in some of the coldest water in the world.
Okay.
Anybody can swim in 83-degree weather, right? I mean, anybody can swim in 83-degree temperatured water.
But it takes a real psychopath to do it in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
I
don't know if that's a theory. That's just a theory of mine when I'm walking around Imperial Beach going, look at these people. Look at these crazy people. And they have to deal with sewage here, too. Imagine that. Those guys must be really, really good surfers.
Or
really
at least they're really dedicated to it, and their mental health is probably perfect. The temperature of the ocean where you are is almost exactly the temperature of my pool in my backyard. So win-win.
My dad has lived here for 2 decades plus, and he will not get into the water unless it's at least 75 degrees. I'm like, 75?
I mean,
we never get to 75 where we
no.
live. Guy would never go in the water. Kind of like me.
Kind of like you.
Guess the apple didn't roll too far from the tree. But American Airlines through Charlotte. Charlotte, very nice airport. I don't know if you've ever connected through there or spent some time in Charlotte. It's a very nice airport.
Yeah, the time that I went from Philly to Aruba, we had like a 4-hour layover in the Charlotte airport for some reason. And I was like, 4 hours in an airport. Had a blast. Found like a good bar. Found a good bar that had good barbecue. And I was like, I'm eating good barbecue at like a fun bar. Like it didn't even feel like I was in an airport. I've had 2 experiences like that. One was in Charlotte, one was in Minneapolis. So those airports are golden to me.
And as we've discussed on the travel channel on the Discord, well, is it the travel tab on the Discord channel? Yeah, sure. I did get the new Chase Sapphire Reserve card, which makes me eligible for the brand new lounge at San Diego International Airport, Terminal 2. However, I was running very late and barely made my flight last night, so I didn't get a chance to experience it. My wife did, and she was blown away. I think some of her reviews included there were multiple coffee machines and oat milk and other stuff. Yeah, good wine. That was one of the first things that she checked. Actual imported wine, French wine, Spanish wine. So she gave it 2 thumbs up. So whenever it is next time we travel through, maybe on my way back, I'll just purposefully stop at the Chase Sapphire Lounge.
Just get a glass of wine.
So I can hang out a little bit before I head back to Imperial Beach. All right. I did watch the Padres last night. That actually was what made me late, is I was looking up all the information about qualifying offers, which we'll get to when it comes to Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease is a problem. Not just a problem for the 2025 Padres on the actual baseball field, where he is now 3-9 with an ERA just shy of 5. This is a pitcher, and I know we said take it with a pinch of salt. Zips projections, preseason projections. I don't fully buy into that. I look at it. I want to be aware of it, but I don't subscribe to it. It's not baseball doctrine to me. I just take a peek at it. And the Padres had 2 of the top 13, 14 pitchers in baseball, according to preseason Zips projections. John, are you a Zips guy?
Yeah, I like Zips before the season starts.
Okay, take a peek at it, but again, you're not going to go put your mortgage on any of this stuff. No. Materializing. So they had 2 of the top 13 or 14 of Michael King and Dylan Cease. Now you can't even find these guys. You can't even find them on the stat sheets when you go looking for them. I had to go to Dylan Cease's page itself because I couldn't even find him on a list of all the pitchers who have thrown in Major League Baseball this year. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know what's going on with him, and why he's not doing this or that or doing this and the other. That's not my game. I'm not the pitching coach. Darren Smith, not Darren Balsley. But I will say, like we're getting to the point now on July 10th where do we need to keep asking, well, like when is the real Dylan Cease going to show up? Or is this the real Dylan Cease for 2025? Is he going to turn it around? I don't know. Like at what point do we stop asking that question? And then at what point do we start trying to think, like, what is our plan for this guy? whether it's between now and the trade deadline or even at the end of the year when you might have to make a decision to put a qualifying offer on the table for Dylan Cease, which we can get into some of those details here. It's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a problem. The issue is it's a problem that doesn't seem to have a big reason why it's happening. Like, I've dug through the StatCast, I've dug through his FIP and his xFIP, and he's kind of the same pitcher he was last year, except his fastball is getting tagged for home runs a lot more than it was last year. And I remember when the Padres traded for Dylan Cease. Do you remember Herb Lawrence, who we worked at? So Herb was from Chicago, went back to Chicago. Until recently, he was working for CHGO. He's doing something else now, and I forget. But really good, like, producer, host, loves Chicago sports, loves the White Sox, follows it closer than anybody. So I called Herb immediately, and I was like, tell me everything I need to know about Dylan Cease. And he said, because remember, Cease was coming off a down year with the White Sox. And he said, the down year is not his fault. The White Sox were terrible. He's a good pitcher. Although when he's got it, he's got it. And when he doesn't, he doesn't. And sometimes he's like a back and forth, like good year, bad year guy. And his stats kind of back that up a little bit. But the strangest thing is, like, I spent a good chunk of this morning going like, I'm going to figure out what's wrong with Dylan Cease so I can be like, oh, this is the problem. And I didn't really find anything except, like, he's getting barreled more. He's giving up more home runs. The launch angle that he's giving up is higher than it's been in years. People are getting to the sweet spot more than they've ever gotten in years. And it all seems to be on his fastball, which, outside of the fact that it's performing poorly, seems like it has roughly the same shape, speed as it had last year. So there's really no sense to it. And again, his xFIP is almost exactly the same as it was last year, this year. So I don't know. He's given up more home runs. That's essentially it. But it's definitely a problem, and it's a problem for a guy going into free agency, I think.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say it's a problem for the Padres. I would say it's a problem for Dylan Cease. I don't even know. I mean, who could even calculate how many tens of millions of dollars he's potentially costing himself up until this point in the season, just based on some of the numbers and the lack of success. And it is funny because people do talk about Dylan Cease and they say things like, yeah, like he's a really good pitcher like every other year. And he's a really good pitcher except for those couple of innings. And I think the more you have to say that about a guy, the more you have to start asking yourself, is he that a good pitcher? I'm not sure. I remember having a conversation with Bob Scanlon last year on radio because I wanted to, I will say, I don't do this often. I've never been a believer in this guy. I know he's a good pitcher. I know he's talented, but I've never been a believer that he is an ace. And I remember having the conversation with Bob Scanlon on radio, and this is not me clapping myself on the shoulder. This is just, there was something off about this guy. And when he gets billed as the right-handed Snell, for me, that's an immediate red flag, as somebody who is not a Snell devotee here either. But Scan, I asked flat out, what is your definition of an ace? He told me. Does Dylan Cease qualify as an ace? He said yes. I said, I don't agree, Scan. I think he might be a staff ace, but I don't consider him like a baseball ace. I don't think he's an ace in the true sense of the world. I don't. That's just me. Others are inclined to disagree. And I didn't predict this. It's not my point. There's just always been something off with this guy. And you know, it takes like no joy to point this out because I think it's a problem. I didn't want him traded in the offseason. I thought he'd be good in a walk year. I thought he'd be much better than this. And now you just feel like it's an anchor potentially weighing down not just the 2025 Padres, but what are you supposed to do? What kind of value do you think he has between now and the end of July? Probably none, because you trade him away and the team that's going to sign him or trade for him is going to have to give something up, and then they're not going to get anything for him because he's going to walk. And then we talked a little bit before we started recording about the qualifying offer. I mean, I still think if you make it through the end of the regular season with Dylan Cease on your roster, whatever it looks like at the end of the year, if it's better, if it's worse, or if it's exactly the same, I mean, I think if you're the Padres, you offer him a qualifying offer, but is that a risk that he would take it and take $22 million from the Padres next year? Now, he's a Scott Boras client. I tried to look up if Scott Boras clients have any history of accepting these qualifying offers. And I suppose we should probably explain what qualifying offers are.
I was going to say.
It gets very confusing.
Yep.
But might he actually take it? And it's like, is that a good thing? Or if he leaves in free agency, because the Padres are $20 million over the competitive balance tax, they would only receive a 4th-round pick for him. So maybe you don't even give him a qualifying offer because you don't want to make that bet that he might not turn around and take it to spend another season in San Diego with Ruben Niebla.
Okay, so I want to come back to that.
Okay.
I want to come back to that.
It's funny that I get to watch you process all of this rambling because I wonder, like, what the hamster on the wheel is doing inside of your brain.
I want to come back to that because the hamster on the wheel inside of my brain is thinking about an interaction that I saw yesterday on X that had nothing to do with Nazis, thank God. And
did it have to do with Linda, whatever her name is?
No. It was about the Padres.
And interracial pornography?
It was about the Padres, and it was about pitching at Petco Park. And it was a conversation amongst Padre fans that pitchers know that pitching at Petco Park is different than pitching in other places. And it was even backed up by a clip from a podcast video. What's the A.J. Przinsky podcast called? I never remember.
That is called Fair Territory?
Yes. Or Foul Territory? One of those.
Is it a fair poll? Is it a foul poll?
Good question. And they had on Joe Kelly. And Joe Kelly was talking about this one particular at bat that he had against Eric Hosmer years ago. And it was at Petco Park. And Joe Kelly, they were like, hey, so like, remember this at bat? It was like this great at bat. And I go back and I watch it because it's an awesome at bat. And Joe Kelly's like, yeah, he's like, when you pitch at Petco Park, he goes, sometimes the ball just moves like 10 inches more than it normally would at Petco Park. And he's like, because, you know, the sea air and everything else that's going on there. And he's like, so sometimes I just throw a pitch at Petco Park and go like, is this one of those nights where this one's going to move? And he's like, and I threw the pitch and it moved a ton. And then I threw it again. And then I threw it again. And I just kept throwing it because I was like, he can't hit this pitch at Petco Park. Now, you once told me a story that I have repeated to many different people about, the Padres hitters early on in Petco Park complaining about, not being able to hit home runs at Petco Park. Darren Balsley getting up in like batting practice, hitting home runs and going like, there you go.
Top Tank Western Metal Supply Company building.
Did he really top tank it?
Oh, yes, he did during batting practice. Flipped the bat and everything and mumbled some profanity under his breath. Because you know what happened? I'll tell you a quick story.
Go ahead.
It was Tom Krasovich who wrote in the Union Tribune, he referred to Petco Park as Petco National Park. And Nevin and Klesko and Giles were complaining every single day about this park, whether they were doing it publicly or privately, whatever. And Ballsy got up there during batting practice when all the guys were hitting in the A group and the B group, and he put a bunch in the top tank and he flipped the bat and he's like, yeah, motherfucking National Park my ass. 50-year-old man just went top tank. So go ahead.
So this is what I'm wondering, because this morning I was writing this long thing about the Padres that'll go on our site later today, and I was noticing that Nick Pivetta, his strikeout to walk ratio at Petco Park is over 6. Outside of Petco Park, it's under 3. So that means like he's literally striking out more guys striking out more guys at home and or walking more guys on the road. And, I said yesterday that I had heard that Dylan Cease was better at home than he was on the road. His ERA at home is 3.48 this year. That's including last night when he was terrible and he gave up a bunch of earned runs. 3.48. On the road, it's 6.27. Now I'm starting to wonder because there was always that thing with like the Padres hitters and be like, well, we see like opposing pitchers come in here and hit home runs. Bartolo Colon can hit a home run here. Why can't our guys hit home runs here if the guys coming in can do it? And I used to say, I think it's a mental thing. Like you have enough at bats at Petco Park. You have enough home runs that get robbed from you, land at the warning track, that you just kind of stop trying to hit home runs because you've been robbed there so many times. And I wonder if the opposite is true with Padres pitchers, where like they get so comfortable throwing pitches at Petco Park because they move more, they're unhittable. And then they go on the road and they're trying the same things and it's not working and it's getting frustrating and they're in their own head. And all of this makes me wonder, does Dylan Cease even want to be a San Diego Padre? And I don't mean that in terms of like the organization, anything like that. Is there any chance, there's some chance, there has to be a chance, that Dylan Cease is like pitching half my games at Petco Park is fucking me up everywhere else.
That's why he's not an ace.
Well, yes.
I mean, it might be.
Well,
I mean, it's a good theory.
Not an ace. It's you need to be good enough to do it in all the different environments and have good enough stuff and be able to adapt and all that. But that's the first thing that popped into my head when you were asking about the qualifying offer is like, in the question of would he accept it is like, does he want to be a San Diego Padre for another year? Is that good for his like? At that point, you're just putting off free agency for a year for him. Does he think that if he had another shot at it, it'd be better? Or does he think-
I mean, this has been a strategy for some of the Boris guys. Snell. Now, he didn't accept the qualifying offer. Blake Snell did not. Pete Alonso did not. But, they have come up with this strategy. If they don't get what they want in free agency, they do take that bridge year or what's it called? The pillow year. It's, there's a term for it. But these guys have done that as a strategy rather than sign, I guess the best I can do is 4 years and $80 million. They'll go, okay, I'll take one in an option here for 35. Now, that's not exactly this when it comes to the qualifying offer. Nick Pivetta, by the way, turned down the qualifying offer from the Boston Red Sox. So I suspect somebody would probably pay Dylan Cease, but I mean, I wouldn't be a team. I wouldn't want to be a fan of that team. I mean, I just would not in free agency. And I don't think he'd take the qualifying offer. But the fact that we even would think about this and like what you could potentially do for him between now or with him between now and the trade deadline, if all of a sudden it went off a cliff here, I guess all it takes is one team out there that would show a little bit of interest in Dylan Cease. But I did not see this scenario coming with him. Not my favorite pitcher. Did not see a scenario where you're actually wondering if he's tradable or what you would do with your qualifying offer, because you'd be worried that he might actually take it and you'd have to put up with another year of this next year at $22 million.
I'm not this guy normally, but I'm going to be this guy right now. Do you know where Dylan Cease is from?
He's from Georgia.
He's from Georgia. Would you be, as a Padre fan, if he walked in free agency, you extend him the qualifying offer and you hear he's signed with the Atlanta Braves, would you then be like, ooh, I don't want to face that guy in the playoffs? Or would you be like, oh, good, would love to face that guy in the playoffs?
Wouldn't bother me at all.
You don't think
I don't want him to take the offer.
Fix him or anything?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what can be fixed here. I mean, I just think we're at that point, which is just not a point. I mean, we won't even. Should we even get started on Michael King? Like, what are you going to do with your qualifying offer for that guy?
I mean, I think you make it and just.
But again, you're also $20 million over the CBT, which means that the compensation you get back. So if you have a free agent and you have a guy who's in a walk year, a free agency year, Luis Ariz, Dylan Cease, Michael King, and they go and sign with another team, there's all sorts of rules. There's a million rules here, so we can't possibly read through them all. But one of the rules is if the team that the free agent comes from is over the CBT, the best compensation that you can get back in return is a 4th round draft pick. And the Padres are $20 million over the CBT. So they can look forward to a couple of 4th round draft picks here for their free agents. I must admit, I didn't factor that in when I said, yeah, keep all these guys, go for it. I didn't expect us to be having anywhere near this conversation in the middle of the year.
Well, it's also like a question of, this is the bigger question, which is that everything you just laid out, should they offer Dylan Cease the qualifying offer? They only get back a 4th round pick. Should they try and trade him now for something that's better than that? Kevin Acee said in his Padres Daily today, I thought this was a good point, that like, even if A.J. Preller and the Padres want to make trades right now, like every GM is in draft mode and they're like, we will talk about trades after the draft. So like anything before the draft, probably not happening is what I got from that. And the question of, do you trade Dylan Cease for long-term whatever, because maybe you can get a better long-term piece than if you were to just get the 4th round pick if you offer him the qualifying offer and he signs somewhere else. All of this is wrapped up in, is A.J. Preller even going to be here in 3 years? We have no idea.
3 years?
2 years? 1 year? We have no idea.
Sounds like Mike Shildt is starting to sharpen the knives, though, so he can stick one right in A.J. Preller's back.
I like the AJ. Mike Shildt will never say anything bad about his players, but the second they start like really not performing, he's like, I don't know, guys, not working with a lot here.
You guys seen these catchers?
He's not wrong, but Jesus.
Well, he's not. But finally, somebody said, do you think it's a bit odd that you keep pitch hitting one of these crappy hitting catchers for the other crap hitting catcher? He's like, what do you want me to do? I don't know. Is there anybody else that can hit? And there's nobody else here that can pinch hit for these guys? The way I feel. When you're complaining about a catcher's offense, you're complaining about your offense.
Yes. Also, Dylan Cease's agent is probably not too nervous about all this, but if I was Luis Campusano's agent, I would just be burning I'd be blocking every call that came in from the Padres front office. Don't want to talk to you ever again. Go away. Bye. You're telling me this guy can't come in and do at least this? He can't do at least this? And I know it could be the manager, could be the pitchers, could be whatever, but if I was another team, I would not feel great about trading for catcher Luis Campusano, who can't even seem to get on the roster behind Diaz and Maldonado.
Well, I don't know that I'd feel great trading for Dylan Cease, which seems to be the common refrain from Padre fans, that you should trade this guy immediately while he still has an ounce of value, when you just laid out that he doesn't really pitch well anywhere other than Petco Park.
Yeah.
So, kind of stuck here with this guy.
Yeah.
I mean to laugh, but it is not what I would have thought. Not what I would have bet on.
What did he give up yesterday? 6 earned runs? 6 earned runs in 6 innings. That's...
Yeah, but pitch well, I guess.
So again, I've been writing this long thing this morning while I've been kind of, letting you have your space. And I went through, all the different parts of the Padres roster and everything. And I got to starting pitching and I went, a year ago, if you're the Padres front office a year ago, you're sitting around going, man, next year we got Darvish, King, we have Musgrove because it's before he got hurt, and we got Cease. Wow, we got 4 great, no one in the league is matching us in terms of starting pitching. We got that. Plus our bullpen's going to be awesome because we have Adam and we have Suarez and we have Estrada and they must have thought that they were going to have the absolute most dominant pitching staff and bullpen heading into the season. And then it's just one after another, the Darvish thing, the King thing, the Musgrove thing, and now Cease is bad. What do you do? What do you do? Everything's going wrong, Darren.
Everything is going wrong. Do you hold? You're going to add to this? A.J. Preller. Our team will tell us. What is the team telling them, John?
Well, he said the team's going to tell us, and then he said they needed to add a couple bats. So, Does that mean that they told him that he needs to add a couple bats? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, these were two different. I think this is a quote. I'm reading it from the Discord. That when Shildt was pressed in the post-game press conference about this ridiculous approach, this cry for help, as we've referred to it here first, that pinch hitting one catcher for another is a cry for help. Bunting when you're down 3 is a cry for help.
Yes.
The parts are the parts, and you manage them to the best of your absolute ability. The parts are the parts.
The parts are the parts. That's his way of saying, don't blame me for the roster.
Yes.
Blame me for the decisions, not the roster.
Yeah, I feel like we've now reached that portion. I feel like we hit that with Bob in season 2. I think we hit that with Jason season 2, and now we've hit that with Mike Shildt in season 2.
I know. I'm going to bite my tongue. There's a thing that I've been wanting to say for a long time, but I don't want to say it into a microphone because people will be mad. But I think there's real problems in this clubhouse, and I think there have been for a while. In
the clubhouse?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the same guy who, screams at his teammate in front of cameras and a live baseball audience, the same guy who pushed them to bring in Eric Hosmer to be a clubhouse leader, the same guy who doesn't mind tearing reporters an asshole several times a season. I don't know. He's a great baseball player.
Hosmer preceded that guy though.
Oh, Hosmer came first? Yeah, that fucks up my whole argument.
Usually the credit's given to Hosmer.
I forgot.
For this other player who you're too chicken shit to mention.
Look, I said I didn't want to talk about it, so obviously it wasn't a well.
Manny's not a subscriber. Be a man. Say it with your chest.
The team is not. We're doing a short podcast. We're already at 30 minutes. Let's end on this part of the conversation. Because I've been saying this publicly for weeks. This team, this 2025 San Diego Padres team, is not fun There's nothing fun about them. They're not joyful. They're not silly. They're not exciting. They play boring. They are boring. They talk boring. Like the most exciting moment of the season, Darren, might have been Mike Shildt like tossing his glasses to the side while asking an umpire or Dave Roberts or whoever if they wanted to fight. Like this team has absolutely no joy and it feels like no soul. And it just feels like a job to all of them. Like I saw early in the season, people were like, man, Tatis, body language. This guy hates baseball. Get him out of here. Now those same people are like, you can see that Jackson Merrill's not even having fun anymore. Jackson Merrill was the vibes guy last year. Him and Profar were the vibes guys last year. And now it's like Profar's gone. Merrill's miserable. Like everyone's miserable. Find me someone on this team that's not miserable, Darren. And it's not, they're a winning baseball team. There's 6 games over 500. They're fought like they're in the CBT willing to pay for a winning ball club and everyone is miserable.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I might. Yeah. Well, listen, others have said this, and I don't know if we're all talking to the same people or not, but there's at least 3 of us who seem to say the same thing. I'm not a believer in Luis Campusano. Others are bigger believers than me. Kyle Glazer recently went on his podcast. What's that one called?
Oh, we never remember this. I can look it up. Keep talking.
It's pretty good, though. And he does it with Mike Cameron. Kevin Acee has now made reference to this several times in the Padres Daily. And I've told you, not that I've picked a side. I've just sort of explained that there's a disconnect between the front office and the baseball team, the guys in uniform, like Mike Shildt. But if that is a quote, and this is reading it from our Discord channel because I haven't seen it quoted someplace else. The parts of the parts, you manage them to the best of your absolute ability. And if it is true now, what 3 of us at least are saying, that the front office thinks highly of Luis Campusano and the coaches and the players do not, then I'm going to say, you know what, Mike? If that's what you're going to say in the post-game press conference, the parts are the parts, then now as your boss, here's the fucking part that you're going to play. Luis Campusano. He's back.
Play him.
Shut up. Now shut the fuck up and play him.
By the way, real quote, because it's also on Padres.com. A.J. Cassavell put it in his article that I think I linked to in Front Row Seat this morning. Says Preller talks plan for Padres ahead of trade deadline, in which he uses the same quote that we used from Preller the other day, which was not in the podcast when I first published it. He uses that quote to analyze it and then uses the Shildt quote to be like, maybe the parts will change soon. Who knows? Yeah.
If that's true, and again, it's been a minute since I've been around it, but if it's true, what seems to be continuously said, and has been said by 3 different people who have not coordinated with one another and who I don't believe are taking each other's material, that the front office still believes in this guy, and now you have a manager who will not play this guy. Now I'm going to say, okay, you're going to challenge us like that? Well, now here's our response, Mike. Which one do you like better? Because I'm firing that fucking guy first, and now I'm bringing in Luis Campusano.
Yeah, this is,
I'm telling you that you got to play the guy. This might totally destroy the team because apparently the pitchers don't like him. But
yeah,
I mean, and this might totally sink the ship, and that's there's no doubt about that. And you might be cutting your nose off to spite your face in that situation. But if I felt challenged like that, I might think about it. I might have Campusano out of plane this morning.
Yeah, it's the Moneyball thing, right? Where if I'm thinking of the movie scene correctly, it's Brad Pitt talking to Philip Seymour Hoffman. Philip Seymour Hoffman playing the manager whose name I don't even remember. And
Howe.
Was it Art Howe?
Art Howe.
So Billy Bean's talking to Art Howe, and he's like, "You're gonna play this guy. You're gonna play this guy. You're gonna play this guy." And Art Howe's like, "Don't tell me who to play. I'm the manager. I pick who to play." And he's like, "Great. All 3 of those guys just got traded. They're gone. You're playing my You're playing my guys now. It's that. That would be the same."
I might do that. I mean, if I felt like sufficiently challenged enough, like I was, and right or wrong, I think most people would probably tell you, they'd probably be like, "Yeah, Shilty's right to say it." But, you did have an opportunity to do something about this. And, all anybody talks about is you're the vibes guy. You're the guy in there who's bringing the whole team together. We'll figure it out. figure out a way to get these pitchers more comfortable with this catcher. We know he's got some things going on, but we gave you an option and you declined it. Where do you think? Do you think we're just going to go find a catcher somewhere? I mean, where do you think we're going to get one of these guys? You sat here, you openly campaigned for him in spring training. You made us all believe that they were the second coming of Yadier Molina. So, don't pretend like all of a sudden you're like, oh, what do you want me to do? You campaigned for them. I remember the quotes. So does everybody else. What a mess.
By the way, the Kyle Glazer podcast is called Friar Territory. Okay. So good for him on that. And then I want to reach out to him and see if he'll come and jump and do like a Padres roundtable with us sometime soon. Because I think he's a smart guy and I think he has good takes and I like when he talks about the Padres, and I see he's done other Padres podcasts in recent months. But he does that with Mike Cameron and apparently Heath Bell. So,
well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, I forget what my last point was, so it doesn't really matter, I'm sure.
All right, read what John wrote. John wrote 2,000 words about the Padres.
I did, including a trade idea. I have some trade ideas.
Oh, I love that. People love trade chum in the water.
No, my trade ideas are always, they just get ripped to pieces, but it's fine. I don't care.
I will look forward to reading that on my flight home, which may be tomorrow. We're not sure. Exactly. But we will find time to do another one tomorrow. Short one for today. Subscribe. Smash that like button.
Tell your friends.
People don't have to do that here, do they?
Bang your monkey. No, there is no like button, I don't think.
Don't have to smash anything?
Don't have to smash anything. Just listen, tell your friends, subscribe if you're not already.
And just call your kids and gather them around your cell phone so you can listen to John's voice on his new microphone.
Doesn't it sound great?
Exciting. It does sound good. It does. There's no doubt about that.
I know what I was going to say now. Can I? Wait, I remembered it. This is great. This can be the last minute of the podcast. This is fantastic because there's some Bochy praise in here, so I know you'll love this. There's an article that I read years ago when the Giants were like winning the World Series every other year, and there was a young player. He came up. I want to say he was a second baseman, and he'd been there for like 2 months, and he came out like shooting out of a rocket. His first 2 months were amazing, and he sat down with a local beat reporter and said, when I got here, I expected that I was going to have to do all the rookie shit, right? Carry the bags and, bring food for everyone, all that stuff. And he said, I got here. And on day one, Buster Posey came right up to my locker and said, hey, all that rookie shit, we don't do that here. You're part of the team. We are a team together. We are trying to win together. We are equals together. You don't even, you're going to get the playing time that you deserve based on performance because we don't play favorites. We don't push around the youngsters for the benefit of the veterans. We are here to win baseball games and we're here to win championships. If you can help us do that, you will be in the lineup and you will be getting playing time. And I remember there was quotes from Posey where he was like, yeah, Bochy told me I can kind of run the clubhouse that way because Posey was like, I found it to be very, very important to get all that bullshit out of here of like, oh, I'm the veteran, so I get the whatever. Like, no, we are trying to win games. That's much more important than this. And going back to my other thing, I feel like there is something in the Padres clubhouse that's like more important than winning. And I feel like that has infected a lot of it. Now I'm done.
Okay.
Had to get that out.
All right. I like it. Let me ask a question random of absolute or completely random and apropos of nothing.
Cool.
When you rent a car, do you prepay for the gas?
The answer is dependent on if my wife is with me, absolutely yes, because she will insist upon it because of the convenience factor. If not, I usually won't, and I will just make sure that I find a gas station on the way back.
But you do pay for a full tank. That's the one thing everybody, because it is a scam.
At a big rate too. It's like $8 a gallon or something.
It is. Well, in Florida, they said, we will charge you $2.99 per gallon. Oh. And it's actually more expensive than that if you go and try to fill it up on your own. And you think to yourself, wow, that sounds like a good idea. But if you return your rental car with a half a tank of gas still in it, you get charged for a full tank.
Oh,
That's
really?
The thing they don't tell you.
They don't even just charge you for the half.
No.
Then yeah,
according to my car rental place today, they will charge you. They could charge you. They offered you a full tank or a half a tank. And I almost did the half a tank because I have a feeling I'm going to be stressed trying to get to the airport, but I declined both just because I like living dangerously.
Apparently.
But that's just a little bit of a travel tip because I felt for the guy in front of me. They're like, but sir, it's only $2.99 if you choose to fill it up here. And he's like, oh, okay then. Sign me up for a full tank of gas. I'm like, what if this guy returns it with 3/4 of a tank?
He gets charged for the full tank.
Yeah.
That's how they get you, Darren.
That is, John, that's how they get you.
All right. We could do another 20 minutes on car rentals and gas, but we should probably make this one actually short.
Okay, we'll talk to you when we talk to you.